Hi, it's Brigit here. I'm one of the Pilates instructors from Silverfit, and today we are going to focus on our pelvic floor muscles. So in Pilates, the pelvic floor are an important part of the core system. So they form part of what in Pilates we call the powerhouse. So it's our core abdominals that wrap around some deep back muscles, the diaphragm, and the pelvic floor, which the sling of muscles that act like a foundation in the pelvis to keep the organs contained. And also a healthy pelvic floor will prevent conditions like stress incontinence. So, very important set of muscles. So the thing with the pelvic floor is we quite often find it quite difficult to locate them. So we're going to do a number of exercises today, standing and lying, to just try and find those muscles. Okay, so to start off with, oh, by the way, we can do this in any, you don't need to put your gym kit on. You can just do these exercises in whatever you happen to be wearing. Okay, so to start off with, we're going to have our feet flat on the floor and hip width apart. And we're going to take whichever hand you write with, and you're going to kind of draw it up, and you're going to feel this sense of energy drawing in and up. So it's our front zip here. It's like we're holding in a wee, and then release, let that go. Okay, and we'll do that again. Inhale, exhale, drawing up. Try not to clench your bum cheeks whilst you're doing this. And then release. Okay, other hand, back zip. Okay, so inhale and exhale, so drawing up through from the back. It's like you're holding in a fart. And then release. And again, inhale, exhale. Try not to clench your bum. And release. Shake out your arms. Now we're going to do front and back at the same time. So plant your feet down, inhale, exhale, drawing in and up. So hopefully you're starting to feel a subtle engagement. And release, and you might be able to do it without your hands, but I quite like to use them. It helps the energy kind of travel in the right direction. This is your exhale, and then inhale. As you're doing these exercises, try not to hold your breath. So when we engage the pelvic floor muscles, you want to do that on the exhale. So we inhale to prepare, we exhale, and then release. Good. Okay. We'll just wiggle out the hips, and then we'll wiggle them out the other way. So we're trying not to clench our bum cheeks through any of that. The pelvic floor muscles, they're deeper, so they're part of the deep core. If you clench the butt cheeks and you feel all this clenching, that could be counterproductive. So that could actually switch off the pelvic floor muscles. Okay, so it's worth remembering. It might require some deep focus and some practice just to kind of get into that. Okay, so what we're going to practice now, as we tighten our belt, we're going to zip up. Okay, so remember the zipping. So we inhale, and as we exhale, we're tightening our belt, we're zipping up. So we're starting to create a vacuum. And then see if we can hold on to it. And then release. And we'll do that again. Inhale, exhale. We're tightening our belt, we're zipping up. And release. Lovely. Just shake out the shoulders, roll them a couple of times in one direction, a couple of times in the other direction. And then we're going to come into some breathing. And the exercises are breath-led in Pilates. So it's the breathing that cues the exercise. Okay. So we're going to have our two longest fingertips touching, and we're just going to place our hands at the base of the rib cage. So you can feel the ribs where they kind of meet the abdominals. And for this exercise, our elbows are out to the side. So we want to avoid that. Okay, so just keeping those elbows out to the side. And when you inhale, the movement, the sideways movement of the ribs will expand the ribs, and these fingertips will come apart. So inhale. And as you exhale, knit the ribs back together again, and we're tightening our belt and we're doing up those zips. Let that breath really ooze out. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, expanding the ribs. Side to side. Exhale. Try not to clench. One more, inhale. Also try not to have tension in the shoulders, and as you exhale, and release. Okay, give yourself a shake. Now, a quick trick that might work, I found it is quite effective, this one. If you're still thinking, oh, my pelvic floor muscles, where are they? Try sucking your thumb. You might have dislocated them just like that. Okay, so it's quite a nice sort of quick. If the thumb sucking is meaning clenching, then you need to ease off a little bit. Okay, so we are going to come down onto the mat. Now with that, with those standing exercises, you know, they do take a little bit of practice, so you might want to just kind of do them at your leisure. Okay, so we're trying to get deep. Okay, so we're coming onto the mat. And we're just going to have a little scan here. I will take my socks off. It's cold today. You can keep your socks on if you want to. Okay, but I'm taking mine off. So we're just going to have a little sense check. So we're going to place our feet on the floor, and we want to have our hips and our knees and our feet in line. So it's like they're on train tracks. And we want to have the crown of our head, the energy is going to the back wall, and the energy of the fingertips is going to the front wall. So we're creating opposition. And as we settle down into the position, we want to get a neutral spine. Okay, so we want just the smallest curve in the lower back. Now I'm wearing lots of baggy layers today, so you won't actually be able to see it on me, but just the natural curve of the spine. So, but we're going to fine tune it. Okay, so we're going to do an exercise called pelvic clocks, and starting with our spine in neutral, we're going to imagine that we've got a clock face on our belly, and at the top of the clock is 12 o'clock, that's near our navel. The bottom of the clock is 6 o'clock, that's our pubic bone, and on either side we've got 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. But you don't need to worry too much about that at the moment. And in the middle of the clock face, there is a marble. And as we exhale, we're going to roll that marble to 12 o'clock, or our belly button. And feel the zips, back and front, okay? No clenching, avoid the clench. And then as we inhale, we're rolling the marble to 6 o'clock. So we come through neutral, there's a bit of an arch, yeah? So we're getting a little bit of an arch in the back, but fret not, because we are supported by the floor. And then as you exhale, rolling the marble to 12 o'clock again. So you want to kind of go for this nice, deep, very internal sensation, which can be very subtle to begin with, but then it becomes more powerful as your body learns to look out for the signals. So there's a lot of a body awareness piece here. Okay, so we want to get those pelvic floor muscles drawing in and up. It's very internal. We're avoiding the flip-flop movement. We want to create this nice rolling, deep rolling action. And then we're going to settle back to the marble in the middle of the clock face. And now we're going to roll the marble between 3 and 9. So it's just a little tilt, sideways tilt, and then another sideways tilt. And what we're trying to avoid here are the knees doing this. So we don't want the knees flapping left and right. It's a very internal, it's a sort of slightly grinding into the floor movement. And if you find the 3 and 9 o'clock a bit of a struggle to get your head round, another way to think about it is you've got a puppet spring on your hip bone, that one's coming up, and then the puppet spring on the other hip bone, and that one's coming up. So you're kind of leading with the front rather than rolling side to side. Okay, and then we'll just settle back down to neutral again, and the marble is back into the centre of the clock face. And now we're going to go round the clock face. So you're going to inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, you're rolling the marble to 12 o'clock. So to your belly button, and try to keep very zen, very relaxed around the shoulders. And now we are going to roll that marble all around the clock face. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And when we get to 12, you're going to go in the other direction. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to 12. And then release to neutral. Tuck your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. This takes quite a lot of mental energy, that one. And now you're going to repeat that exercise, the round the clock face exercise. You're going to close your eyes for this now. So we're going to use our inner eye, our intuition. Okay, so when you're ready, inhale to prepare, and as you exhale, roll the marble to 12 o'clock. That's up to your belly button. And I'm just going to leave this one with you, with your eyes closed, with your own thoughts. We're going around the clock face. Take your time. When you've completed a circuit, you're going to change direction. It's quite therapeutic. It's very nice. It's quite meditative, I find. Okay, so from here, we're going to stretch out. So we're going to stretch the right leg and the left arm. Lovely stretch there, cross lateral stretch. Bring the arm and leg back, and now we're going to stretch out the left leg and right arm. Gives the brain a little bit of a breather. And then bring that back. Okay, so we're now going to do some breathing. Okay, and with the breathing, we're going to keep our spine in neutral. And after that little exercise, just resettle back to having your spine in neutral again. And you might find that you're neutral now, there might have been a shift. Okay, so because we've kind of moved it around a little bit, we've increased our body awareness to that area. So you might find that what you thought was your neutral before wasn't. Okay, so you might have had a shift. So it's quite nice just to kind of work into the move, into the position, and just to kind of listen to your body's feedback. Okay, so from here we are going to place our hands on our abdominals, and as we exhale, we're going to engage the muscles underneath our fingertips, and we're going to engage the pelvic floor. So we're creating that vacuum. Now, I slightly hesitate to use the word brace, because bracing is quite an explosive sensation, bracing for our dear life. We want to think more about a sort of a gathering or a drawing in and up of the muscles. So it's, again, it's not a throw everything at it. We want to be very kind of internal, very thoughtful, very deliberate with this. And it will be, nothing's really physically moving. It's muscular, internal muscles contracting rather than a jolt or a physical movement. So if you place your hands on your abdominals and you inhale, and as you exhale, just start to engage those pelvic floor muscles like we did when we were standing up, front and back zips, and maybe there's a zip in the middle that you can draw up as well. And we just activate those abdominal muscles, and then inhale, release, exhale. And you don't want the breathing to be too forced either. Inhale. Inhale through the nose and exhale like you're blowing out a candle. And inhale through the nose. And exhale like you're blowing out a candle. Pelvic floor muscles. We've got a really nice opportunity here as well, just to work on our breathing and just to kind of zone into that. Really expanding in that lung area and the rib cage. And exhale. Okay, so you can give yourself a little shake. We're going to do some curls, and we're going to maintain our neutral spine, and we're really going to focus on the pelvic floor muscles. Okay, so the pelvic floor muscles will they do help to protect your back, because you feel that kind of drawing in and up, so they do help to protect the back and the core. Let's give it a go. So we've got our head in our hands, and then we're just going to lift our elbows off the floor a little bit, and our spine is in neutral, and as we exhale, we're just going to start to lengthen the top portion of our spine. It's like you're trying to get your crown of your head to the back wall. We're lengthening, and that length will start to convert to height. Now, spine in neutral. Activate those pelvic floor muscles. Activate. You won't come up very far. It's the sort of micro movements here. And then inhale, release back down. Try not to crash land back down. Keep the control on the up, keep the control on the down. Off we go again. Inhale, exhale. Lengthening that spine. Lengthen. Maintain neutral spine. And then inhale, release. Now, if you want to add, but we're still working in neutral, and we still want to keep our pelvic floor as an important part of this, okay, because if we start crunching, it all becomes very much about six-pack, and everything's kind of down there, goes out the window. Yeah, so we want to kind of keep that deep foundational work going. So now we're going to flex the feet as we come up. We're going to flex both feet. So we're inhaling, and as you exhale, lengthen the spine, lengthen, flexing the feet, digging your heels in, digging your heels in, digging your heels in, digging your heels in. Now, if I come up any higher, my spine is no longer in neutral, so I'm going to come back down again. Everyone's range is different, so you've got to go by feel rather than by, I mean, if you're in a room with someone else, you know, you might be tempted to look what they're doing and then copy them, and they might copy you back, and you might be on this sort of loop of trying to go farther and harder and faster, but just trust yourself. Inhale, and as you exhale, we start to curl up. Spine in neutral, pelvic floor. Spine in neutral, pelvic floor. And then release back down. We shall do one more for luck. Inhale and exhale. Now, what is an important thing to note about these as well is to kind of get good function is that you stop the exercise when you're on a high. Once the quality starts to diminish, then just call it a day, and then come back to it fresh the next time, because the brain will absorb what the muscle's doing, because it all works on a feedback loop. So if it starts to get a little bit dodgy, the brain is going to remember that, and then the next time you give it a go, it goes dodgy. So we want to just seal the good form into the body. Okay, it's very neuromuscular. So we're going to do some tilts. Sorry, we're going to do some bridges. So it's we start off with a tilt, and we work our way up into a bridge. So we're going to really break it down, and we're going to really articulate through the spine. And again, we're going to really focus on our pelvic floor muscles, because that's what we're focusing on today. I mean, they're always part of the mix, but just make it a point just to prioritize the pelvic floor muscles today. Okay, so we will inhale, and as you exhale, you're rolling that marble to 12 o'clock. Feel those pelvic floor muscles start to activate, and then we start to peel off vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. And as you gather up those pelvic floor muscles, you get this sense of kind of floating off the floor. Now, the glutes can start to engage now, because you need that extra little bit of support. But again, we don't want to be clenching. So we don't want our tension clenching to hold us up. We want to have the deeper muscles holding us up. Otherwise, everything's just clenching to the hilt, and we're being held up by tension. Okay, so we want to get that nice muscular interaction to hold us up. And then when we come down, imagine I'm going to actually hold my own hips. Imagine someone's got you by your hips, and you're peeling down, but you're keeping your hips high. You're peeling down, you're keeping your hips high. Keep the hips high, to the last possible moment. Okay, and that just means you get this really nice articulation. It's like you're pouring your spine onto the mat rather than thump. Okay, we're going to do that again. So pelvic floor. So we inhale, and as we exhale, we're zipping up, we're zipping up. So we initiate it with that tilt, and that tilt starts to, we just start to nudge the tailbone off the mat, and the rest follows through. Really focus on the pelvic floor. Glutes are starting to activate. We've got thigh to butt, or thut as we call it in the trade. Thigh, butt, butt. So not just the bum cheeks clenching. Now when we get up, just check in with our ribs and our alignment, and maybe a quick peek at the knees. We don't want the old knees separating. The knees go too far apart, you get there'll be tension on the sacroiliac joint. And then we roll back down again, keeping those hips high. Keep that, it's like someone's got you around your hips, and they're holding you up and only letting you go at the last possible moment. And when you're down on the floor, release back to neutral. Then we'll take a full body stretch. Circling the arms round, one foot on the floor, the other foot on the floor. We're back in our neutral spine again. And we're going to do knee drop outs. And they should be called knee controlled maneuver outs, not drop outs, because actually we don't want a dropping action. We want it very controlled. Let's change our arm position. So we can go into the capital E arm position, and what this will do is it will give your pectorals a nice stretch, because we do tend to be quite tight here. If you find this is too distracting, pop your hands back down by your side, and we can use them as brakes here. Otherwise we're here. And we're just going to work the right knee. We'll just do 4 on each side. As we inhale, that knee goes over to the side, and it's like you're pressing the thigh on a sort of cafetiere plunger. So we're creating resistance, and then bring the leg back, and you're creating resistance on the way back as well. And we inhale as the knee goes out to the side, and I'm just releasing this arm to show you this is where the energy is going. We bring it back. We're using the pelvic floor, we're using the deep core abdominals, and we've got this moving part here. Our right leg is moving, but everything else is still. There's a little wobble there. And one more on this side. This is our inhale. This is our exhale. And we're going to give that leg a shake. And then we're going to do the other side. So left side. Inhale. Spine in neutral. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So 2 more. So spine in neutral, because that encourages a good spinal alignment, because the spine is designed to be in neutral. And because our body weight is supported by the floor. So unless you've got some back problems, hopefully you don't need your imprint. When we need our imprint, we use it as a protection mechanism. But if the floor can take your weight whilst you're moving this leg with control, then hold your neutral spine if you can. Okay, and then we're tucking our knees into our chest, and we're just going to circle out the knees. We'll change direction. And then we're going to roll over onto our fronts. And we're going to come into a child's pose, and we're going to have a wide knee, close together feet child's pose, because it's very relaxing. Okay, it's you can just let everything flop in between your thighs. It's very nice. Okay, so we want to be as relaxed as we can be here. And I'm just going to talk to you this way, otherwise I'm mumbling into the mat. But we're going to inhale, and we're really aiming to fill up the bottom of the side, the bottom of the rib cage, okay? So really fill up and really get loads of expansion here. And as you exhale, locate those pelvic floor muscles and try and exhale as you're contracting the pelvic floor muscles. Inhale, you're really filling up the ribs, and exhale, you're contracting the pelvic floor muscles. I've just come up to speak to you. You probably won't hear me if I'm down there. I'm just going to do a couple of rounds with you. So inhaling, exhaling. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Now, I didn't mention, but what you can do, if you find it too uncomfortable to have your forehead on the floor, you can use cushions. You can use many cushions just to kind of prop yourself into a comfortable position. You can also use a blanket. That's really nice if you need a bit of extra comfort. Okay, so we shall come onto our hands and knees, and we are going to do some cat-cow stretches. So as we exhale, we are wrapping our bum under, well, arching our upper back. This is our cat stretch, and you can really activate those pelvic floor muscles from here. And then as you inhale, head up. You can keep your pelvis in neutral, or you can have a slight tail up. Be careful that you're not collapsing into your lower back. And we'll do that one more time. Now, whilst we're here in cat stretch, really claw the hands. And then we're coming into our cow stretch. And then we're just going to cross the ankles. We're lying on our backs again. We'll just roll down onto the mat. We're going to do some curls with our legs in this position. So we've got the knees apart position, soles of the feet together, and our head in our hands, spine in neutral. So it's all about the neutral spine today. We're lifting the elbows up, and then we're going to inhale, and as we exhale, remember before where we lengthen the spine, so we've got the crown of the head going towards the back wall, and we start to curl up. Now, get those pelvic floor muscles on, front and back, not just the front ones, and then release. And if anything, the back zip takes priority, so try and get your back zip and then the front zip, so it's a sort of back to front priority. So inhale to prepare, exhale, curling up. I'm going to try sucking my thumb here. That really works. And then release. I don't know why that works. It does for me anyway. We're going to come up again, and we're going to hold it. Now we're going to do 10 quick contractions of the pelvic floor. Okay, so just do 10, count them in your own time. And then hold it, and then release. I might have been pulling a funny face then. And that's another skill entirely, trying to keep a straight face. Okay, so stretch it out, circle the arms round, tuck your knees into your chest. We're just going to do a few happy babies to finish off. And when you're ready, just roll over onto your side. Good. So hopefully that was useful to help you locate your pelvic floor muscles. There's a lot of information online, so you can Google about the pelvic floor just to see where they fit in the mix. But, you know, as I said earlier, they're an integral part of the Pilates core. Yep. So we've got our transversus abdominis, our diaphragm, and then our pelvic floor. And it creates the cylinder with the floor and the lid. Okay, our powerhouse. Good. Well, hope you enjoyed that. Nice and relaxing. See you next time. Thank you.